Hi, I often get asked how I got started as an artist. And, it's no different than a lot of other people. I spent 25 years driving truck, and people don't understand how you can go from driving a transport truck to becoming an artist. But in fact, a lot of my art is related to the transportation industry. So if I hadn't started driving a truck, I wouldn't have been able to do this. This month, we're talking to a bunch of artists about how they got started. So I thought I'd share it in this bonus episode about how I got started. A lot of it is just by luck, and they say that, and there's a lot of hard work, but you actually have to just start drawing. So I started at the age of 10. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you my whole life story for the age of 10. But I started at the age of 10, and I drew till I was around 16. And at the time of 16 is when I started driving, I got my license, and I got into the trucking industry, and I kept going from there. And at that point, at the age of 16, 17, 18 is when I actually stopped drawing. So I had 8 years of drawing, let's say, and I stopped drawing at that time and went to pursue being a truck driver. And I was in that career, and I did not take a pencil or a pen for many, many years. In fact, 18 years, I did not take a pencil or a pen with me in the trucking industry. And, I now look back and I think, man, I lost a lot of time. But in reality, I didn't. I was learning another skill, another craft, and new experiences. And so what happened is, I went through a divorce around the age of 32. So around the age of 32 here, I am going through a divorce, and all I got left was one box. And this box had my art supplies in it from when I was, 16 years old. Just a couple sketchbook. In fact, the sketchbook wasn't even finished. And so from there, I started drawing again, just basically to pass the time. I didn't think anything of it. And then I met somebody and got remarried and started drawing more. I really got back into enjoying it. And this is the secret. You can't just kind of make it happen. You have to start, you have to be enjoying it. And I got back into it. And then around 2003, I decided I was doing a lot of landscapes. I started selling to neighbors. Not by plan, just by, hey, we're going to, I've got this landscape, would you like one? Then somebody would commission a gift for Christmas. And then I thought, I started doing stuff for retirement gifts. I was a supervisor at the time of a fleet, and someone was retiring, I'd do a gift. So I just started using my art. I just started doing it. People saw it. I started selling here and there. And then around the age of 2003, I wasn't even doing shows or anything. I was just selling to neighbors, basically. And in 2006, I quit my full-time job. Now, I'm not telling you to quit your job, okay? Do not quit your job to do this. But I had been tired of being a supervisor, and I thought, I'm going to go to full-time art. And I thought I would have where I was thinking of going was to the magazine publication market. And I was going to do things, I knew a number of the trucking publications from my experience there. And I thought they would need illustration for their articles. The problem was that at the same time, everything turned digital, and I was still doing traditional media. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So I basically had no work at that point. The good thing is that when I did start the business was right at the end of 2006, and we were getting into Christmas time. And I started getting Christmas commissions. I had time now to go to parties. I met people, and I started getting Christmas commissions. That took me into it took me into Christmas, and then after Christmas, things went totally dead. Now, I could have quit at that point, okay? This is when a lot of artists quit. They go and they find another job, whatever. I had enough savings to get me through a little while, so I didn't go get another job, although I read the paper every day, But what I did is I knew that the world was going digital, and I wasn't there, and I went back to school. And this is what I would tell any artist. It's one thing to practice your craft, but, you need to keep up with the times. And I went back to school, and I treated it like that was my work for the time. I took a photography class because I wanted to learn Photoshop. I took a web development class so I could learn websites. I drew every day and, worked on my art, started getting into shows, and doing small shows and those kind of things, whatever you can afford. Join your art society, join networking groups, whatever you can do. And that's once I started doing that, started building, and it builds slowly, folks. It's not going to be a quick career, especially for artists or creative entrepreneurs. But if you stay steady with it, is where the consistency is. That's when I started blogging. I've been blogging since 2007. Here we are in 2018, going into 2019. I'm still blogging. Now it's turned more into podcasts and video, but I'm still doing it. And I've been consistent. You can go back to Facebook, back to 2003, and see that I've been on the whole time. So it's really about consistency, but you got to get out there. It's one thing to build your art, and it's another thing to build your career. And those are two different things. So if I can say anything to you, just get started, be steady, do what you can. If you can go into small shows, if you're selling to neighbors, expand that. Go to the next neighborhood over. If you're creating a children's book, let's say, then create it, and then create another one and start selling it, and you're going to build. Everything builds on itself, so you kind of have to start there. So if I can say to you, that's how I started my career, is just be consistent. Consistent is the biggest key in this whole thing, and if you're consistent, you too will build your career eventually. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching this bonus episode.